Descent of the Demon God by Hanjo Wiolia. Chapter 188. Encounter. Part 1. In front of the Yongchun group. An emergency meeting was conducted because of the sudden appearance of over 1,500 people in thick fur. It was a situation where all the cult members were dispatched, thinking the people were enemies. But they weren't enemies. They were none other than the people of the North Sea Ice Palace and clan. Yongchun Group's chairman Chen Yuzhang was at a loss for words with the people who filled the entire front ground. So many. Because the entire crowd came there and not just the heads of the palace or clan, there was bound to be a large crowd. And there were so many people watching one place. Ooh. Lord. North Sea Ice Clan's Dan Chojin and his son Dan Chojia were in tears as they bowed their heads and looked at Chen Wujin. Please punish us for leaving our home and running away without telling you. Dan Chojin was weeping out loud. It was the same with Dan Chojia. Chen Wujin held up by holding their shoulders and spoke in a heavy voice. It happened because I was lacking. How can I blame you all? Even if it was like this, I am glad I get to see you back. Lord. All the executives looked at it with delighted faces. As a result, all the scattered people of the Sky Demon Order gathered at one place. For 27 years, everyone waited for something like this to happen. What is this? Why am I in tears? At first, Dan So-young was just watching them. However, she also began to cry after a few moments, so she bowed her head. This looks so good. Lord Chen Ma. Mun Ranyang was satisfied with the cult's descendants all back in one place. When she woke up from hibernation, she was distraught when she heard of the Sky Demon Order being collapsed. It would be great if this continues. Hee hee. Hu Bong smiled with a nod. In any case, they too met after many hardships. The joy of this moment could be the starting point of another history of the Sky Demon Order. Chen Yuan was at the back and looked at them. He had no expression on his face, but they all knew he was feeling the same as them. Is this all organized and well? Chen Yuan felt like the task at hand was finished. He considered it to be fate that he fell into this time zone. Maybe it was for him to help. The remaining variable is MS Group? The Sky Demon Order was no problem. But the MS Group was something that his descendant might have done or created to bring Chen Yuan back to the original timeline. And only by solving that would he be able to reach an answer. As the people kept talking, Chen Yuan moved. Huan Mianlo. Yes. At his call, Huan Mianlo came out right away. At that, Chen Yuan looked at the people of the North Sea Ice Palace and clan and said, "Find a place for them to live." Huan Mianlo took a deep breath and said, "I obey the orders of Lord Chen Ma." As soon as the answer fell, the people of the North Sea Ice Palace and clan burst into cheers. Voila! Not only them, but even the leaders of other clans too cheered for them. Thank you for showing such grace. You are so considerate despite us not doing anything. They were worried about this part since they came here in a hurry. Because the Russian Defense Ministry soldiers had died, they rushed off because of the orders that were given to kill them. Amid such cheers, Huan Mianlo asked Chen Yuan. My lord. But, has their identity and nationality issue been handled well? Right. Take care of that too. Huan Mianlo let out an empty catch and sigh. Not one, but he had to create a nationality change for nearly 1,500 people. The merger hasn't even been finished yet. Will he ever be able to get home on time? But what could he do? Even if he weren't an executive, he would still have to take the clan's responsibility till the end, as he was a proud member of the Sky Demon Order. Everyone, silence. A short word, but everyone went silent at once. As the place turned quiet, Chen Yuan continued. I heard that the North Sea Ice Palace had been divided into factions for various problems. Dan Cho-jin, Dan Cho-ja, and the elders of the North Sea Ice Palace nodded their heads at those words. Everyone knew that this issue would be discussed at what happened in Russia. From now on, the clan and palace will be one. To be precise, in accordance with the cult system, the palace will be incorporated into the clan. Ah. At that, the elders all sighed a little. They had foreseen this to some extent. This was because it was the moment that their history of the palace would end when they returned to the Sky Demon Order. Ancestors. They all felt sorry for their ancestors, but Chen Yuan wasn't done yet. And Dan Cho-ja. Yes, Lord Chen Ma. When he was suddenly called out, he stepped out with a puzzled expression. I appoint you as the head of the unified North Sea Ice Clan. Everyone was shocked at it. Naturally, they all thought that Dan Cho-jin would be their leader. However, Chen Yuan appointed someone else. How can I? The surprise was short-lived. He was conscious of his father. Even his daughter looked at her grandfather with worried eyes. Will they two fight now? Contrary to their concerns, Chen Yuan's following words resolved it. Dan Cho-jin has worked hard as the supreme leader and will continue as an elder. So now you will fulfill your responsibility as a senior executive and elder of the cult. Ah. Traditionally, the leader and elder had the same roles. However, Chen Yuan decided that Dan Cho-jin didn't have the experience to lead the clan. Instead, he considered it better to hand it over to his son, who was rational with his judgments. Why is there no answer? Pack. The two men knelt at the same time and shouted. We follow the orders. After answering that, the father tried to relieve his son's concern. Cho-ja. Father. It's your time now. Your father will focus on the Sky Demon Order, so don't worry and work for the clan. Hearing that, Dan Cho-ja was relieved and felt gratitude towards Chen Yuan, who recognized his true worth. After the processing of the North Sea Ice Clan, which returned into the Sky Demon Order, all the people were dispersed. After they left, Chen Yuan also went somewhere. Baekgi, Mun Ranyang, and Hu Bong were also about to go, but they stopped. It was because someone approached them. It was Baek Jongso, the current head of the Pure Kick clan. Oh, right on time. Hu Bong, who noticed him, called him Jongso. Teacher. Hu Bong was a teacher of Jongso by the orders of Chen Yuan, and that shocked Baekgi. Who is teaching whom? Hu Bong frowned at the words and grunted. What? I teach well. At that, Mun Ranyang shook her head. Ugh, they are back at it again. Of course, although Hu Bong was usually a funny person, it was hard to see him as a teacher with talent, especially as he was teaching illusion sword to Bai Mak Hien. It was Because Bai Mak Hien was quite skilled already. And teaching martial arts of the same form were taught to earn. But that is different for Baek Jongso. Hu Bong wasn't a suitable teacher for him. Enough. Baekgi. Yes? Even so, I wanted to introduce him to you. At Mun Ranyang's words, Baekgi looked at Baek Jongso puzzled. Mun Ranyang smiled and said, This friend is Baek Jongso. He is the current leader of the Pure Kick clan. Pure Kick clan? At those words, Baekgi's expressionless face changed. He did want to meet people of the clan in this era. Baek Jongso, who didn't seem to know about Baekgi, thought it was right to introduce and bowed his head. Baek Jongso, the leader of Pure Kick clan. Leader? Baek Jongso frowned. Seeing that this man was with Mun Ranyang, he thought that this man was of a high position and felt a bit uneasy. Who is he? As Baek Jongso was puzzled, Baekgi suddenly swung his foot towards him. At the sudden attack, Baek Jongso crossed his arms to block the kick. Pack. Quack. Whoa. It looked like a light kick, but the moment he blocked it, his body flew 10 meters away. Due to the throbbing pain in the wrist, he couldn't even move. He is strong. A single blow, yet the difference was clearly felt. The person in front of him was a warrior he couldn't even compare with. Baek Jong-so spoke when his pain subsided a little. "Excuse me. Why are you suddenly?" "Shoo." At that moment, Becky, who was far, seemed to have moved since the form turned blurred. Becky was ready to slam this man down into the ground. It was really simple, but the force could be felt. "Shit." Flustered, Baek Jong-so hurriedly rotated his body and got up and used his feet. When their feet collided with each other, a pounding sound came out. Pang! Baek Jong-so's supporting foot in the ground was pushed back and dug into the floor. Push! Quack! A groan escaped from Baek Jong-so's mouth. It felt like thousands of pounds were crushing him down. Becky spoke in an arrogant way. "Now you are using your feet. Why are you doing his quack?" At that time, Becky moved and aimed for Baek Jong-so's chest. Baek Jong-so was hit with a kick. Again, his body bounced back. He couldn't even hold his form and rolled on the ground. Thud. Yuk. It took a long time for him to stabilize himself. At first, he was disconcerted by the attack, but he was surprised by the kick which came in. "This is shocking. Were there any clans that used their feet other than the Pure Kick clan in our cult?" He really thought this man was amazing. The simple yet strong movements were inspiring. And then a voice said, "Ha! What greatness in 1,000 years." Before going into hibernation, Becky was told by his son that his clan would flourish. Well, for 1,000 years. However, coming here, he felt disappointed. He didn't know the clan would break down this badly. Instead of evolving, it seemed like the clan regressed. Why is he so disappointed? Baek Jong-so couldn't understand the man in front of him. That was when Hubong spoke. "To kick your descendant the moment you see them." Becky, seriously? TCH. Descendant? Baek Jong-so was shocked at what he heard. Come to think of it, there was a story he kept hearing whenever he had classes with Hubong or Mun Ranyang. If Becky was here, he would teach you right. It might be better to ask your ancestor to teach you later. At that time, the story didn't strike him. Baek Jong-so, who was shocked, didn't know what to do. Be by any chance, ancestor? Becky leaned back and spoke in a dissatisfied voice. Unfortunately, yes. Baek Jong-so was startled at how Becky answered and fell flat on the floor. How did this happen? He couldn't stop his beating heart. In front of him was Becky, the 14th leader of the Pure Kick clan, the legend of the clan. Chapter 189. Encounter. Part 2. Becky was nicknamed the Thunder Swift Kick. He was one of the 6 swords, and known to be the closest to Chen Yuan. As the 14th leader of the Pure Kick clan, he was a legendary figure who led the revival of the Sky Demon Order by Chen Yuan's side. From generation to generation, the descendants of the Pure Kick clan continued to respect him, the same with Baek Jong-so, the current leader. Becky looked at Baek Jong-so, who was bowing on the floor. The legendary. Shut up. Baek Jong-so went silent at Becky's words. Unlike the others, Becky wasn't fond of his title. Do you want to announce that to everyone here? And no. Baek Jong-so shrank from Becky's cold words. His ancestor, the legend himself, had neither a single kind bone in his body nor a soft-spoken personality. He was blunt and even colder than Chen Yuan. Very disappointed. As years passed, we should have progressed forward. Becky kept repeating his thoughts. He thought that even if the clan didn't evolve, it would at least not regress, but seeing Baek Jong-so's skills, he knew that the clan was now a mess. I apologize. This realization made Baek Jong-so depressed as well. When he was a lot younger, his own father, the leader, had disappeared, so regression of pure kick martial arts was inevitable. However, Baek Jong-so wasn't the kind to make excuses, so he just let Becky continue yelling. So stubborn. Hu Bong shook his head as he looked at Becky, who was the most inflexible and blunt among the 6 swords. Unlike the others, he had taken a while before being loyal to Chen Yuan because of his great pride. Yeah. It isn't because he wanted this that, ugh. Hu Bong was about to speak up, but Mun Ranyang stopped him and whispered, "Bong Bong. This is a matter of their clan from now, let them figure it out." She didn't think it was right for Hu Bong to intervene, so he obeyed his wife's words the same way he obeyed Chen Yuan, stepping back. Baek Jong-so couldn't even raise his head and decided to speak. "There is no excuse for this to happen in my time. I am sorry for disappointing you." Huh. Becky snorted, stretching out his hand towards Baek Jong-so and raising him up. Ah. As soon as he stood up, Becky suddenly took a stance and unfolded each technique without speaking. "Papa." As each technique unfolded, Baek Jong-so couldn't stop his trembling eyes. This is the pure kick technique? It was different from what he knew. It seemed too perfect to be changed or improved. He's so kind. At the sight, Mun Ranyang smiled. Becky was pretending to be cool on the outside, but he was trying to display his clan's techniques. She clearly understood his intention. SHK. After unfolding all 8 forms of the technique, Becky adjusted his posture, said to Baek Jong-so, "Did you see that?" "Why, yes." Baek Jong-so answered as he trembled. As a person who practiced the pure kick technique daily out of a desire for perfection, Baek Jong-so was amazed to see it in person. "It is really amazing. Stop using your mouth. I'll give you a day." "Sorry? If you're the leader of the clan, then you need to master the techniques I just showed within 12 hours. 12 hours? Becky was puzzled about the 12 hours. In actuality, Becky's 12 hours meant 24 hours in the current time. Baek Jong-so's mission was to master the technique within a day. Ancestor. No excuses. If you don't meet my expectations, I will have to change everything here with my own hands. Baek Jong-so went pale at those words. If Becky was up to the task, then he would surely change everything within the clan. Ancestor, can you give me 2 or 3 days? He had only watched it once, so how could he perfect it within a day? It was definitely not an easy task. Becky flatly refused. 12 hours from now. What are you doing standing there all dazed? Baek Jong-so, who was restless, bowed and tried to run to the Yongchun Group practice hall when Becky whispered, "Don't let me down." Baek Jong-so, who heard Becky, answered with determination, "Yes, sir." Hu Bong moved closer to Becky and tried to say the same thing, "Don't let me down." "What are you doing?" "Imitating you." "What?" Since it was done in a low whisper, the imitation didn't sound right, but Mun Ranyang was grinning. "Is he carrying you or something? Don't let me down? Don't make it a pun." While Hu Bong was making fun of the exchange, Becky sounded very displeased. "Your words are letting me down." Becky lost his calm as veins began to pop on his forehead. In the vice-chairman office of Yongchun Group, the golden Gumiho, who liked to rest on Chen Yuan's shoulder, turned pale. "You are too much. Play with Bai Makian. He's tired now." During Chen Yuan's visit to the North Sea Ice Palace, she decided to stay with Bai Makian, who had a horrible time. "Please, not again." Bai Makian, too, was shocked at Chen Yuan's words. It was no easy task to take care of the fox. Despite taking the form of a baby fox, she acted like a monster boss. "I'll be quiet, okay?" The golden Gumiho tried to flatter Chen Yuan, But he stayed consistent with his decision and refused to change his mind. So cold. Even your ancestor wasn't this cold. I have no intention to hear any of this from you. I'll be doing this, then. The golden gumiho pretended to close her ears. It was so cute that even Yusowa smiled. When she looked at the adorable little fox, she forgot it was one of the strongest beasts. Hey! What are you up to? Master told you to get out. Why are you acting so much like a pet? The second secretary, Shakina, yelled at the fox. Despite her harsh words, she too wore a pleasant expression while looking at the fox. Chen Yuan had called for her because he had something to discuss with them. Hee hee. I'm finally reunited with my master. However, the fox didn't even try to listen to the discussion and wrapped itself around Chen Yuan's neck, protesting for her stay. I won't go. I won't go. Fine then, I'll pull you off. Shakina reached out for the fox on Chen Yuan, but it used its tail to strike her hand. Pack. You think I'll leave him alone with a naughty girl like you? This fox. Shakina, who was joking at first, was now angry and sincerely wanted the fox to leave. Animals should act like animals. Wuong. A golden energy released from the fox. Shocked by the sudden energy, Shakina too released her demonic energy, but something suddenly crushed her from above. Thud. Ouch. A naked woman sat on her with golden hair and elegance. It was the fox in its human form. Shakina, who would normally fight back, trembled at the weird energy and the 9 tails behind the woman. Chen Yuan's eyes lit up. Her powers are back to normal. It seemed like after eating the kraken, she recovered her powers. Only Chen Yuan would be able to deal with the fully recovered gumiho. Animal? You bitch. Hearing the gumiho's voice of bloodlust, Shakina gasped for air. She could clearly feel how overwhelming the gumiho's energy was, understanding how disadvantaged she would be if they were to fight. Chen Yuan then intervened. I told you that I won't repeat myself twice. Tisk. The gumiho pouted at his words. Although other people would react differently, she knew that to Chen Yuan, whether she was in her human or fox form didn't matter. Whoa. She quickly changed back into a baby fox and rested herself on Bai Mak Hian's head. Eek. Holding Bai Mak Hian's hair as if his hair strands were reins, she said. Go out now. Go go. She spoke with a shrill voice. Unfortunately for Bai Mak Hian, he would never be able to control her like Chen Yuan. Bai Mak Hian accepted that he was just a human horse to the gumiho and silently took her out of the room. When they finally left, Shakina approached her master. Oh my, it's just the two of us, master. Don't push your luck. Pack. As she continued to giggle, Chen Yuan pushed her way and put his hand into a shadow. Swoosh. He then pulled something out, a cylinder with a golden pattern on it. Her puzzled expression then became intense and serious. Master, where did you get this from? Do you know what this is? Chen Yuan handed the cylinder to her. Receiving the object, she was shocked at what she saw. Does she recognize where it's from? He had found the item with Hagar, the traitor, which is why he guessed that the language was from the demon clan. Master, this emblem is of the Grand Duke Kaliaf, one of the 3 Grand Dukes of our clan. Grand Duke? Chen Yuan was puzzled at the title Grand Duke, as he knew that this title denoted the second highest rank after the king. From birth, demons were stronger than humans, so he could fathom how strong someone of that title could be. But why does Master have this? She wondered. Not once had she even seen a Grand Duke-class demon in person. The hierarchy of the clan made it so that seeing people of higher titles was tough. I found it in the traitor's hands. Hagar? Shakina didn't understand what he was saying. From what she knew, Hagar was a low-level demon. It was strange that he had an object of a higher demon, even more so of Grand Duke Kaliaf. "Can I open it?" "Go ahead." She opened it, taking out the scroll from inside that displayed the drawing of the armor set Chen Yuan was after. Seeing the drawing, her eyes widened. "Master, do you know what that is?" "This is Arisha's armor." "Arisha's armor?" It was impossible for Chen Yuan to understand what she was saying, so she broke it down for him. "This armor here is the blueprint for divine items that only the Demon King of the clan can wear." "So this is the Demon King's treasure?" The secret armor in the scroll that he obtained from Hagar, the traitor, was the Demon King's treasure.